How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Some people are wondering, is Bitcoin dead? We pumped up to 49,000 and now we've fallen down a bit. And they wonder, is now the time to buy? Is Bitcoin dead? What's happening here? Why did we have something so exciting happen? And now the price is down. And I want to talk about that. Also talk about how some big institutions are changing the game. They're manipulating. They are using their tools to buy your Bitcoin for cheap. And we've had this in the past too, but I want to show you how a couple new entities are buying Bitcoin from you without you even noticing what they're doing. Before you get started though, please hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. Also, there's a link down there to my Twitter. A lot of these posts that I show on here, I like or retweet over there, so definitely go follow me. But there's a link down there to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrency on leverage. It's interesting because when the market goes down, there aren't a lot of ways to actually make money unless you go and short the market or you just wait to buy. But when there is some choppiness as well, like these small moves, you can make some money over on leverage trading. Of course, make sure that you're comfortable with it. Make sure it's something that fits your risk profile. There's no KYC on this exchange, and you can use the link underneath the video. There's also a link down there to HGAaccess where you can get information that you don't get anywhere else. Now, over the last few days, I think a lot of people have been a little bit disappointed with how the Bitcoin ETFs have been going. We had so much excitement for it, and now like Bitcoin is kind of sputtering around 43,000. Now, what I've said the whole time is that I think that the BTC ETFs getting approved is great, but short term, we don't know what's going to happen. Long term, this is really good for Bitcoin. But again, some people are looking at like, okay, there's not much volatility right now. This is kind of boring. 24 hours, $60 million worth of liquidations. That's not very much. We had all this excitement over on January 11, like the day after the BTC ETFs were approved, the day of, the day before. And now, as you can see, like less people are searching for Bitcoin, right? Like there's just not as much excitement. The price has just been sputtering around 43,000, 42,000 for the last 2 days. Volume's been low. What the heck is happening? Right? That's what people are thinking. Like, I thought we were supposed to get all this excitement. Well, I will say, think long term. We're still getting ads like this 2-minute ad from Blackrock talking about the new BTC ETF. It's basically an advertisement. We have had Vanguard and some other financial advisors come out and say that they're not going to offer it, or it just doesn't fit the risk profile at this point, which I think will be changed at some point. And keep in mind too, we had a long time last year where Bitcoin did nothing. Like, I think it's easy to forget this, but from, let's say, late August through here, through November, Bitcoin's price stuck within $1,000, maybe $2,000 at the most, from 20,000 down to 18,500. We stayed there for months, multiple months, and then we had a drop. We went from 20,000 down to 16,500, 17,000, right in there, and then that lasted for 2 months. So there were basically 4 or 5 months where Bitcoin's price was just stagnant, within $1,000, $2,000. This is boring. This is what kills investors, not the big drops. People like drops, like that's when they buy in, but kind of this sideways action is what kills investors. And some people are wondering like, hey, we've been sideways for a bit. If you take out this excitement here, is Bitcoin still really going to do well? Because over the last month, we've just been flirting around with 40,000, 44,000 back and forth, some volatility up to 49, but then back to 43. Again, keep in mind, this is a long-term thing. Like just over the first 2 days though, BlackRock bought with their ETF 11,500 Bitcoin. That's a lot. That's a lot of Bitcoin. I know some of that came out of GBTC, but overall, there still were net buys for Bitcoin. Like big institutional investors are accumulating Bitcoin overall. Now, BlackRock has been accumulating. This is coming from Marty Party. Yesterday, I reported that BlackRock moved 50% of their ETF into cash. Well, today they updated, and they did indeed, as I thought, buy the dip. They are now back in 100% in Bitcoin. How did they know? We know we now have a new set of whale traders in the game. The ETF fund managers can trade in and out of cash, any currency, Forex included, more to come. So They sold out when Bitcoin hit 49,000, 48,000, 47,000. They sold some of that and then bought it back. They are new to the game. They can manipulate, they can push at certain times to get people to buy Bitcoin. They can do all types of things. Even if it seems like, I don't know if they can do that, they can probably make something happen. They can still manipulate a bit. Now, this is not new. To be clear, I'm going to show you a couple other whales that have been buying, but this isn't new. These kinds of whale games are not new. Back in the day, we used to have entities that would go put Bitcoin on exchanges. They might put 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 Bitcoin on an exchange. People would get all worried, say, why else would they put all this Bitcoin on an exchange unless they were going to sell it? So then people would freak out, sell their Bitcoin, and then that whale that put the crypto over on the exchange would just withdraw it and buy the dip as well. We see this happen all the time with liquidations too. We have people hunting for those. They can see the order books. They can see what's going to happen if they push the price down just $500, $1,000. They can push that price down that far, get a bunch of people liquidated. It goes $2,000, $3,000 down. They long or they buy at the bottom, and then they push it right back up to where it was while prying the Bitcoin out of your hands. We see other entities too that are a little bit more mysterious than Blackrock that don't disclose exactly who they are, what their intentions are, and they're buying the dip as well. This is the 35th largest wallet, and so far this year they've made a couple big buys, 345 Bitcoin, 436 Bitcoin. They are accumulating significantly. They're in the profit significantly, right? They went all this time without buying from September 2023 all the way to mid-December. So they went 3 months just watching the price, and now they're buying again. This entity, we've shown a couple times, just consistently buying. They have become the 200th largest wallet. They started back in basically June of 2022, July, maybe somewhere in there, and they just buy and buy and buy. I mean, take a look at this. Every day this year, they're just buying 20 Bitcoin, 15 Bitcoin, 16 Bitcoin, 18 Bitcoin, just consistently, day after day, pushing themselves up into some of the highest, into one of the most wealthy Bitcoin wallets out there. So there are different ways to play this as a whale. You can just buy and buy and buy, just put in $700,000 a day into the cryptocurrency market. You can buy in chunks. You can manipulate, and you can try to get more Bitcoin that way. All bets are off. We are going to see price be volatile, especially with some of these new ETFs, but we still have a lot of entities buying. We also know that it's going to take a while for financial advisors to approve of this ETF, to put it in their clients' portfolios. And this is a big thing, like when people start buying, whether it's really wealthy people start buying or whether it's put in retirement accounts, like this takes time. It's not like the ETF is approved and then everyone says, okay, we're just going to throw it in with our with all our normal investments. No, like it takes time for people to feel comfortable with it, for advisors to be able to answer questions about it, to understand the risk profile. But this is interesting. This is coming from the street, and it says advisors will soon have a fiduciary duty to push Bitcoin investments, which I think is definitely the case. Like, this is the best performing asset over the last 15 years. And it's not like there was 1 or 2 years where it did a couple 100,000% return and then it just did poorly after that. Like, it's consistently one of the best performing assets. This is coming from BlackRock. 5,500% return, negative 60. 37, 119, 1,300% return, negative 73. 92, 302, 58, negative 65. Like, you can just look at the numbers yourself. Obviously, it's pretty consistent that Bitcoin continuously outperforms. So if someone does hold a fiduciary duty, if they are in charge of their clients' investments and they have this duty to put them in the best performing assets for their risk profile, Bitcoin is it. Bitcoin is the answer. They have a duty to put their clients in this, unless they specifically said that they don't want to be included in it. But Vanguard or Edward Jones or someone else not allowing their clients to buy isn't going to hold up forever. So sure, some companies might stay that way, but a lot of them will change and want to add Bitcoin. It's just not well understood at this point. And keep in mind, it's not just BlackRock and whales buying, like MicroStrategy's buying. We have the Bitcoin halving coming up soon. So yeah, I think there's like a little bit of a hangover, but typically, if you want to buy Bitcoin, you don't want to buy it at the most exciting point. You don't want to buy it when everyone's excited about something that's happening right around the corner. You want to buy it when things are kind of quiet. When people understand that there's some big event happening in the future, but they just feel like they have a lot of time. Because the best time to accumulate is when there's not a ton of excitement, when we're just puttering around like we did this summer, or this last winter, right? The fall. Bitcoin's at 20,000, 25,000, 20,000, 19,000, 16,000. Like, this is the time. And also, we're seeing that right now. We're seeing a very similar, like, okay, we're just sitting around 43. People feel like maybe they need again before the halving, but there's not all that much excitement right now. You know, we just had this big thing happen, and it feels like nothing's come out of it. That's not the case. We see drops like this, even in bull markets, 14% correction, not that big of a deal. This is the time where you want dollar cost average, right? If someone had bought recently and they come over to me and say, hey, should I sell because it seemed like something big happened and then nothing really came out of it, or should I hold on to it? I'd say this is the time to hold on. This is the time to actually probably buy more if you have the chance to, because we have 96 days to halving. We have everything still set up perfectly for the rest of the year. Like, the Fed still is planning on lowering rates. We still have institutions coming in. We have large whales buying. We have companies buying. We had the change in accounting rules. Like, everything's setting up, and we can see who's losing this battle. It's short-term holders. Whales are buying, and short-term holders are capitulating. We saw $4 billion sold from short-term holders, or maybe it was transferred to exchanges, whatever it was. It was short-term holders basically giving up their Bitcoin that they bought over the last couple months. Maybe they're up 10, 20%. Maybe they're down a little bit, but they're basically giving up their Bitcoin to other people because they don't see the long-term potential. But we are bound to hit $100,000 this next bull run. We are bound to move past that. I can tell you on the back end, there are a lot of companies starting to do advertising. Like, they see the writing on the wall. They know that they have to do advertising, because if they don't, there's so many new people that are going to be coming into crypto. They're not going to be able to compete and actually be able to attract new users because there's so much money floating around right now and getting ready to deploy to advertise to get more eyeballs. And they want to be part of that race. So that's exciting to see that people are getting ready. I mean, we see that from financial institutions already, like Blackrock, like all these companies that are running these Bitcoin ads, getting them ready. It's going to be plastered all over the place. They're going to be getting everyone into Bitcoin, especially once the price starts moving back up again. Once we hit 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, all of a sudden, I mean, we're already talking about Bitcoin, or CNN, CNBC, all these companies, Mad Money, they're all talking about cryptocurrency assets. But once it hits all-time highs, that's when people get really excited. That's when people are like, oh, damn it, my neighbor bought at 17,000, 20,000. They told me to buy, or they told me that they were buying, or now it's come out that they made all this money. I should probably put some money in too. And that's the exit liquidity. That's the exit liquidity for you, for me. We're going to make money off of people getting in too late. I'm telling you right now. So just know, this is not too late. This is historically one of the better times to be buying. A couple months before the halving, sell a year and a half after the halving. This is perfect. I like that we've come down a little bit, that things are getting a little bit quiet. Of course, we do have a holiday tomorrow, at least in the U.S., Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I believe. So we are going to have the markets closed. Be ready. There's going to be some volatility for Bitcoin over the coming weeks, but right now it's a little bit of a quiet time. Just relax a little bit. You know, we have had a very stressful last couple of weeks with the ETFs and everything. It's been fun, but it's been stressful, I think, for a lot of people too. And something else that's just fascinating is that we are seeing kind of a double bottom on Bitcoin dominance. This is the daily. So you can see all the way back in late December, we reached about 51%. Then we went up for the next week or 8 days, something like that, up to 54%. Now we're back down about a week later, down to 51% again. Maybe we bounce back up. Maybe this is really bullish and dominance continues moving up. Otherwise, we might see a bit of an altcoin rally, which would be great for a lot of people. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, you can check out Margex in case you want to trade. Even when the market's kind of quiet like this, you can make some gains. There's also a link down there to HGAaccess. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.